So hello again guys. So today we are going to learn about what is plus plus and minus minus, string h, loop, and conditional. So what is plus plus and minus minus? Well, in programming there are like three ways, no, I believe two ways to get arithmetic operations for like easy tasks. So let me just give you an example. First input stdio.h and then email. So yesterday I give you examples of how to get arithmetic operation, right? So let's just sum is 0, sum is 0, and then give num1, num2. And then we are going to scan no, I believe this is not the example we are looking for. So what if we are trying to do something like this? So scanf percentage %d and then ampersand num1. And we are trying to add sum with the previous sum and plus by num1. You can do it like this. So printf percentage %d and sum. Let's try. This is called conditional. So let's try with 5. So it will resulting in 5 because the sum here is 0. Let's just change that into 2, for example, and then let's rerun. So if we input 5, then it will become 7. So the logic is that this sum right here will be 2, and then it will be added by 5, which we input right here, and then so it will become 2 plus 5, and sum would be 7. Or you can like compress this writing by using something like this, num1. So let's run, and then we input 3, and it will be 5 because this line of code is if we extend it, it will become something like, well, like the previous code. So it will be like this. But this one is like the faster one to type, I believe. So it's based on your preferences. But if it's like such an easy task, it's easy arithmetic, then you can do it something like this. And it's, well, you basically can do more than just add, like minus or divide or times or multiplication. It is all applicable in this line of code. So, and then for another easy task, like for example, you just want sum to be like from 2 to 3. You can do it something like this. This will be resulting, let's comment this code. This will result in sum becoming 3 because it is plus plus. So in here, sum is 2, and then when you plus plus it, then it will become 3. And there is minus minus 2, which is the opposite of the plus plus 1. So it will minus the previous number. And then this is called postfix operation. You can do prefix like this, but If it is something like this, then it will not show the true meaning. So let's just try it here. Sum plus plus. And we print it again below. Printf and the sum. Let's just give enter in here so we are not getting confused. F11. Now let's see. If you are using postfix operation in this line of code, you will print the number first, so it will print 2, then you will add it by 1. So the added value is 3, and it's the below one, and it's the bottom one, I mean. So, but if you're using prefix operation like this, the value will be added before it is printing. So it will add the value and then it will print. Okay, it's for plus plus and minus minus. I believe we have managed that. And then 0. And then let's do string.h. So string.h is a library for string. But, well, C didn't have string yet. It's an array of char. But the library is called string.h. So let's give char words. We give it 100 space of an array. Oh yeah, guys. So I want to let you know that you can't fit string with the exact length. So what I mean is that, let's just say for my name, Richard, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It got 7 characters, right? So you can't fit it with something like this. It will not result in error, but it will give some kind of your input will not be stopped at the exact word. So when you input the string, it's basically like this, right? Richard. But string did not do that. It needs another character to let the variable know that it is completed, and that is called \0. So because I only give 7 place of an array, it can only fit Richard, and this character \0 is not fitted. So it will not be completed at this. And let's say I scanf. So you need to scan for this. Like, let's just say that in this code, I inputted with Richard, and I input another one. So that is name 2. Let's just say it's name 2. Oh, no. Words. So let's just say that in this line of code, I input Richard, and in this line of code, I input. So because this one didn't have the \0, it will not be completed, and it will take the below one, the input, the one that is inputted below. So this one will not just give Richard, but it will give Richard as a, yeah, something like that. I believe it is something like that, but yeah, just for your information, it is needed to be added by 1 at least. So if you want to input Richard, then it will be char name and with array of 8. don't put it fittingly. Don't please add by one for char array of char or string. And then so let's do string.h. String.h is a library to make it easier for us to do tasks with string. Let's just say my name, okay? Richard. So we can print the length of my name. It is string length, which stands for string length, and words. Let's try. No, it will be resulting in 7. So string length is for string length, and it will give 7. Wait, and there are another library called string compare, which is going to be needed when we are discussing about conditional. And then there are string copy. So when you are dealing with array of character, at least in C, you cannot do something like, let's just say we create another character, char words copied. 102. We cannot do something like this. Words copied equivalent to words. Printf percentage words copied. Now, it will be resulting in error because C cannot do that yet. So what we can do is that we are going to use string copy, words copied, and words. I'm sorry, I'll give it a new line. So yeah, this is how you do copying value from one string to another. It is using string copy. And there are quite a lot for string.h library, I believe. But the most common one is those three. Well, at least for me, the most common one is those three, are those three, I believe, which is string length, string copy, and string compare. So you can search it by yourself. So now let's talk about loop. So in C, there are three kinds of loops. Let's write it here. There are 4 loops, do while, and while. So the difference are, well, let's just give it an example. For the syntax is something like this. For integer e equivalent to 0, e less than 5, e plus plus. Print f %d space e. So for loop is basically will make it easier for you to print something with loops. It is better to write this code than you write print f1, print f2, print f3, and so on. So let's just give it a run. So yeah, this is the result from this code. So for integer e equivalent to 0, e less than 5, e plus plus 2, when it reaches this code, this one, it will print first, right? So it will, So it will print 0 and then it will get to here, I++. So now I is 1 and then it will print and then it will be plus plus and so on and so on. And that is for loops. And then we go into, oh yeah, you can not only plus plus it, you can minus minus, or you can plus it by 2 or something like that. Okay, so let's go to do while. So do while is basically like this. So let's just say we have integer file is 0 and we want to file plus plus it and printf. Let's printf %d space file and file plus plus, well, file is less than 5. So let's run it. So it will be printed. So in this code we have file is 5 and then we go into do while. So we print file, so it is 0 and then we plus plus it, and if when it reaches this bracket it will go back to this, to the 2. So it will print and then it will go back to 2 until the value is more or equivalent to 5. So until the condition is, when the condition is still true, it will keep looping. When it's false, like when the file is 5, then it is, the condition is false, right? So it will get kicked out from the loop. So this loop will be breaked. And this one is done. Oh yeah, and you can't force loops to stop. Basically, it's something like this. If let's just try a simple conditional. If file is equivalent to 3, then it will break. So what should be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now only becomes 0, 1, 2. Because when in this code, when each file is 3, it will be breaked from the loop. So well, these loops will be breaked and it will get out from the loops basically. So this is do while, and now let's write while. So the difference between do while and while is that do while check for the condition in the post loop, while for while it's in the pre-loop. So while file is less than 5, it will be printing the file plus plus. Now the difference is, for this example you cannot see the difference, but the difference is when it is, the value is 5, and then for a while loop it will not give anything. Well, if you're using do while, it will still print at least once. Why? Because it checks for the condition at this code at while. So it will run first. It will run whatever it is in the between those brackets, and after it reaches these brackets, it checks for the condition. And when it checks, it is wrong. So we get out from this loop. But for do while, it will run the program at least once. That's the difference between while and do while. And now let's check for conditional. So in conditional, you have two types, which is if-else and switch case. So for the easier task, let's create a menu, and let's create it basically almost looping forever. So we give do and we give while. Integer menu and 0. So let's try with printf. Let's create a menu for calculator with only addition and minus. I don't want to create a lot, so add two numbers. Minus two numbers. And printf 3 exit. In the first year, you are going to use a lot of, you're going to be given a lot of tasks to create a menu like this, I believe. So choice. And then scanf %d ampersand menu. And basically it will loop forever until you are inputting 3. I'm sorry, where menu is not equivalent to 3. So when you input 3, then it will get out from these loops. Now you can do two things. Let's just use if. So if menu. So you need to use double equivalent for checking some value. So there are two types of equivalent. First one is only using one equivalent. This one is for inputting a value. So like menu equivalent 0, menu equivalent to 3, then you are using only one equivalent. But if you are going to compare something, then you use two equivalents. So if menu is 1, then you are going to use two equivalents. That's the difference. So if we are going to use this comparison, conditional comparison, I mean, then you are going to use double equivalent. If menu equivalent to 1, then we are going to use another sum and num1, num2. And my, so I believe it is not the right place to put this, so let's just put it here so that every time we loop, it will reset sum into 0. And min is 0 too. If you put it here, then each time it's looping, oh no, it's basically safe to be honest. But okay, let's put it there just to be safe. And then let's just scan it. Two numbers, %d, ampersand num1, ampersand num2. And sum is num1 plus num2. Printf, %d, new line, sum, else if menu is equivalent to 2, then scanf, and then main num1 minus num2, and then printf main. And there's another operations. Well, let's just give else if menu is equivalent to 3, then it will break. But to be honest, you don't need this one because it will be checked again here. But just for example, there is also else. Printf, you can only input 1 or 2. 1 until 3. So if you input like 4 or 5 or 6, then it will give this line of code. It will give the else part. So let's just try. Add two numbers, 1. So you're going to be directed to this line of code if menu is 1, 3 and 4, and it will give 7. And then we got looped again. So we go into this line of code again. We go back to that line of code and we give minus two numbers, 1 and 5, and it will be resulting in minus 4. And we can also using this else, so let's input 9, and it will give, you can only input 1 until 3. And it basically will loop forever until you exit the condition, which is using 3. And it will be exit. And I'm saying that you don't need this line of code because it will still break, but it will print this first. So let's just show it to you guys. 3. And it will print this line of code first, else. And after it print, then it will exit the condition. It will exit the loop, I mean. So yeah, let's just input here. So that is for else if, at least for the easier one. And this line of code can be shortened by using switch case. So switch case is for the easier if else, but it can only used for something like this. So for checking whether the value is the same or not, it cannot be used. Before we go into switch case, I want to show you guys how to check if a number is odd or even. So scan a number, scanf %in, sorry, ampersand num, it will be integer num. And if the number mod by 2 is equivalent to 0, then this is even number. I'm sorry, it's not. It's even number. And if you're going to print colon, then you're going to need backslash because it is a special character. Else, so else if num mod 2 equivalent to 1, it will be odd. Let's try. Let's input 3. It will result in odd number, while when you input 10, it will be even number. So that's how you check even or odd. It's using mod modulus. Like for example, if you are going to 3 mod 2, then it will have a remainder, I believe it is called, by 1. Basically in the result of mod. I don't know how you call it, to be honest. So yeah, that is how you get even or odd. And let's go back into this line of code. So to make it easier, you guys can use switch case. So switch menu case 1. So scanf %d %d number num2. Sum is num1 plus num2 and printf %d enter sum. And if you are using switch case, at the end of the case, you need to give a break. The programming explanation of that, to be honest, I can't really explain it, but you can search for it in Google. But basically, you do need this, because if you don't give break, then when you input 1, you will, in case 2, like this, it is for minus, right? So it will be min, and it will print min. So if you don't give break here and then, after it prints sum, then it will go directly into this. So basically you must use break. And case 3, basically we don't need. Let's just break. So when you input 3, then it will break. And there is case, I'm sorry, I believe it is called something like default, but I'm not sure. Default is like the else for if. So let's just run this. Oh. Let's run this. Okay, so it will be resulting the same as if else for menu, I mean. 1, we add 2 numbers, 2, we minus 2 numbers, and when you input 3, then it will break. So I believe that's all. At the next episode, I'm going to give competitive programming questions, which is not that hard, but it is still hard enough, because when I first go into competitive programming course, I am having difficult times, because I think in human ways, while it needs to be think by machine ways. So in the next episode, we will try to solve it together, okay? Thank you guys.